pretty sure nobody asked, but I'm gonna give my thoughts anyway on MHA Vigilantes because I just finished watching the latest episode. I'm all the way caught up with it, and I stated this. I don't even know if I ever stated it or not, but I just stated it on my TikTok that I was looking forward to Vigilantes because I never read the manga while it was going and stuff like that. Or whatnot. I knew it was a prequel to the main storyline of MHA. So like before Deku, I think it takes like 5 years or something before Deku arrives at UA and stuff like that. And a lot of the main heroes that we see in the storyline, like Aizawa and stuff like that, they're students or whatnot. So it's like I said, it's a little bit before, you know, you get the main characters and whatnot. But what I'm really liking about MHA Vigilantes is that like we're getting, like, even though it's in the same universe, I feel like I'm on the outside of everything happening, like more of like the underground type of villains and stuff like that. Not this, I mean, and so far the villains, I'm not gonna sit here and lie, because I've heard some people say that they enjoy this way more than the main story of MHA. To each his own opinion, okay? But me personally, fuck no. MHA Vigilantes did start off a little bit slow, but then it's picking up. Opposed to MHA, like the main storyline, I feel like I got really hooked onto like I think the first episode. So two different stories, but I mean you do see like the similarities and stuff like that. Koichi, he's growing me more as an MC. I still prefer Deku, but that's obviously because we had way more development with Deku. But even at the beginning, I like Deku a little bit more than Koichi, but Koichi is growing on me and stuff like that. I think he will be a good hero. His quirk, I do see it developing a little bit more and more. That's because someone spoiled me saying that, you know, he gets a huge power up and stuff like that. So, you know, but my favorite character so far in Vigilantes, pretty sure everybody's favorite character, is Knuckle Duster. I cannot wait to find more about him, hear more of his backstory, what made him the way he is and stuff like that, because like I said, I'm not a manga reader, so I don't know what happens. I mean, obviously I've been spoiled here and there and shit like that, but I don't really know necessarily what happened to him and stuff like that. All I know is that he fucking fights with his knuckles and he's really strong, because I think in the first or maybe second episode, he meets Aizawa, and then Aizawa tries to, like, you know, he uses his erase quirk, but then he realizes that, like, oh shit, he doesn't have a quirk, so it's all brute strength. But yeah, like I said, I'm really curious to find out more about Knuckle Duster and his backstory and stuff like that. But he's for sure my favorite character. Pop Step, she's growing on me too. I like her. I like the little trio, because there's not that many characters, I would say, opposed to like the main storyline of MHA. You really focus on 3 characters and like maybe other side characters as well. But another thing too that I'm really liking about Vigilantes is, like I said, the main heroes that you see in MHA, you know, pre-MHA, I guess you could say, like, you know, some of them are in high schools or earlier in their careers and stuff like that. We actually get to see Ildo's brother, because Ildo always mentioned him and stuff like that. And now that we see him in Vigilantes, bro, he is so cool. And I should have mentioned this earlier, but bro, the animation for MHA Vigilantes looks really good. I love the background shots and stuff like that. It just looks really nice. Not to say that the main MHA animation looks bad by any means. Obviously season 1 and 3 were peak. After those, seasons kind of fell off. Some were consistent, some weren't. But I do really like the art style for MHA Vigilantes and stuff like that. I will say this too, there's not much action in Vigilantes. I mean, there is a couple and stuff like that, but definitely nowhere near the main storyline. Hopefully that will get better as the season goes for MHA Vigilantes, but I'm not expecting too much of it, if that makes sense, because I know this is just a prequel, so obviously, you know, different stories, you know, different MCs and stuff like that. But like I said, I am hoping for like a big huge fight. Hopefully we get that like way later on and stuff like that. But opposed like our main trio that we see in Vigilantes, I mess with all of them. Like I said, we're introduced to UC Endeavor, early Endeavor, all the other heroes, Best Genius and stuff like that. I think it's really cool seeing all those heroes and stuff like that, you know, before you see them in the main storyline. Like I think that's so cool, especially Aizawa. I'm hoping we get to see a little bit more of his backstory, and then knowing what happened to his best friend, because I know him and I think his name is Hero Mike or some shit like that. They had a best friend. I forgot the dude's name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. You know, their best friend that died and stuff like that. So really curious to see more of that if we ever get to find out why. But like I said, I'm really definitely enjoying the MHA Vigilantes. Another character that we just got introduced to is pretty much Stain, but he goes by a different name in Vigilantes. I think Stendo or some shit like that. But I think it's really cool because in the main storyline, I've always wondered like what made him the way he was. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously he was like an anti-hero, but at the same time he wasn't quote unquote hero, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously he wanted to get the heroes that were being frauds, but at the same time get the villains as well. But in this storyline, in the Vigilantes, you actually get to find out like why the way he thinks he is and stuff like that, and you see where his ideology kind of switches after he fights Knuckle Duster just a little bit and stuff like that. Kind of shifts, and he's a little bit sadistic, I ain't gonna lie, but I really like the fact that we got introduced to Stain in his earlier life and stuff like that, because then we get to find out who he is in the main storyline. So definitely love the development for him, and then you also get to find out like why he doesn't have a nose, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's pretty cool overall. But like I said, I don't know how many episodes are out right now. I believe 6, I believe. But yeah, so far I'm definitely enjoying Vigilantes. If you have not watched it, I suggest watching MHA first, like the main storyline, and then check out Vigilantes, because I feel like you'll understand the, how should I say it? You'll definitely understand the like the vibes a little bit more. It definitely hits a lot more different, because I feel like if I were to watch Vigilantes first and then the MHA main storyline, I don't feel like I would have liked it as much, if I'm being honest. But since I've already, you know, read and watched the main storyline, I definitely understand like what world we're in and when it comes to Vigilantes and stuff like that, you know. But so yeah, definitely like, you know, where Vigilante is heading at and stuff like that. It's a cool little side story. Animation is great, and not to mention the music. They do take some of the same music that they have from the MHA, but they also have different OSTs and stuff like that. So definitely really nice soundtracks that I like. Like I said, the animation is really good. Like I said, hopefully some of these artists work on the main storyline, but we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I'm hoping for the best for season 8. But yeah, just kind of wanted to get my thoughts on Vigilante so far, where I think about it and stuff like that. Didn't want to spoil too much, but I feel like I did just a little bit. But that's okay though. If you're watching it, you know what's up. But let me know what y'all think about Vigilantes. Like I said, I'm curious to hear y'all's thoughts, what you think about the little side story. And with that being said, are y'all excited for MHA later this year? Because I am. And yeah.